I want you to take a slow breath with me for a moment. Not a deep, forced one. Just a natural breath. The kind you don't have to think about. Now let me ask you something. What if the best part of your life hasn't already happened? What if, right now, at this very moment, you are standing at the beginning of something meaningful, something calm, something deeply fulfilling, something that finally feels like it belongs to you? Because I know what the world sometimes tells you. It whispers that your biggest days are behind you. It suggests that excitement, change, and new dreams are meant for younger people. But I want to gently challenge that idea, because it's not true, not even close. This moment right here is not an ending. It is a quiet, powerful beginning. A new chapter that doesn't rush you, doesn't pressure you, and doesn't ask you to prove anything to anyone. It simply invites you to live again in your own way. And if a small part of you is still wondering, is it really possible for me? Stay with me. Because the answer is yes. You see, life doesn't move in a straight line. It moves in seasons. There are times when we are busy building, working, raising families, meeting responsibilities, always giving, always moving. And then, one day, things become quieter, slower, and that quiet can feel confusing at first. Sometimes, even lonely. You might wake up and wonder, what now? You may miss the structure, the purpose that once filled your days. You may feel like the world is moving fast, and you're no longer part of it in the same way. And if you've ever felt that way, even just a little, I want you to know something very clearly. You are not alone. So many people reach this stage of life and quietly carry the same questions, the same doubts, the same unspoken thoughts. But here's the truth that often goes unnoticed. This stage of life is not empty. It is open. Open space can feel uncomfortable at first, but it is also where new meaning grows. It is where you finally get to choose, not based on pressure, not based on expectations, but based on what truly matters to you. And maybe no one ever told you this before, but you are allowed to begin again. Not in a rushed, dramatic way, but in a gentle, steady way. You don't need to reinvent everything overnight. You don't need to chase something big or prove anything. This new chapter is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to yourself, slowly, honestly, and with kindness. Think about everything you've already lived through, the challenges you faced, the people you cared for, the responsibilities you carried, the lessons you learned, even the hard ones. That experience didn't disappear. It didn't lose value. It became wisdom. And wisdom has a quiet power. It allows you to see life differently now. You don't have to rush decisions. You don't have to follow the crowd. You understand what truly matters and what doesn't. That clarity is something many people spend their entire lives searching for, and you already have it. So what do you do with it? You begin small. Because meaningful change at this stage of life doesn't come from big, overwhelming steps. It comes from gentle shifts. It starts with how you see your day. Instead of waking up and thinking, there's nothing to do, you begin to ask, what would make today feel good? Not busy, not productive in the old sense, but meaningful. Maybe it's stepping outside for fresh air and actually noticing the sky. Maybe it's calling someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Maybe it's reading something that inspires you, or simply sitting in silence without feeling guilty about it. These small moments are not insignificant. They are the building blocks of a peaceful and fulfilling life. And here's something important to remember. Joy doesn't always come in big, exciting events. Sometimes, joy is quiet. It's found in simple routines, in familiar places, in moments where you feel calm, present, and at ease. And the beautiful thing is, you now have more space to notice those moments than ever before. You are not behind in life. You are in a different rhythm, And that rhythm can be incredibly rich if you allow yourself to embrace it. Let me share something else with you. There is still so much within you that hasn't been expressed yet. Dreams don't have an expiration date. Curiosity doesn't disappear with age. The desire to learn, to connect, to create, it's still there. Maybe quieter than before, but still alive. And you don't have to chase big ambitions to feel alive again. Sometimes, it's as simple as trying something new without pressure. Learning a new skill, exploring a hobby, visiting a place you've never been, even if it's just a nearby park or a quiet street. You're not starting over from zero. You're starting from experience. And that makes all the difference. Now, I know that not every day feels easy. There may be moments when energy is low, when motivation feels distant, when doubts quietly return. That's okay. You don't need to feel strong all the time to move forward. You just need to keep showing up gently. Even on slower days, even on quiet days, you are still moving through your life. And that matters. So here's something simple you can begin with. Each morning, give yourself one small intention. Just one. Not a long list. Not something overwhelming. Just one thing that brings a sense of purpose to your day. It could be as simple as, today, I will take care of myself. Or, today, I will reach out to someone. Or even, today, I will allow myself to feel at peace. These small intentions have power. They guide your day without pressure. They give direction without stress. And over time, they begin to shape how you experience your life. Another simple step. Start noticing what brings you energy and what drains it. At this stage of life, your time and energy are valuable. You don't have to spend them on things that leave you feeling tired or unappreciated. You have the right to choose what stays in your life and what doesn't. That choice is part of your freedom now. And finally, stay connected. Connection doesn't always mean large groups or constant activity. It can be one meaningful conversation, one shared moment, one genuine interaction. Human connection is not about quantity. It's about sincerity. And even the smallest connection can remind you that you are part of something larger. You still matter. Your presence still matters. Your voice still matters. Never forget that. As we come to the end of this moment together, I want to leave you with something simple but powerful. Your story is not finished. Not even close. This chapter may be quieter. It may be slower. But it has the potential to be one of the most meaningful parts of your life. Because now, you get to live it on your own terms. No pressure. No rush. No expectations from the outside world. Just you. Choosing how you want to feel, how you want to spend your time, and what truly brings you peace. So tonight, or whenever you find a quiet moment, ask yourself gently, what kind of life do I want to experience now? And don't rush the answer. Let it come slowly, because this is your chapter, and it begins now. You know, something interesting happens when we move into this stage of life. The noise of the world starts to fade just a little. The rush, the pressure, the constant need to keep up, it doesn't hold the same power anymore. And at first, that can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. But if you sit with it long enough, you begin to notice something else underneath that quiet clarity. A kind of clarity that wasn't always available before. Because for so many years, life may have been about responsibility. Doing what needed to be done, showing up for others, making sacrifices, carrying weight that no one else could see. And you did it. You showed up. You kept going. Even on the days when it was hard, even when you were tired, even when you didn't feel appreciated. That matters more than you may realize. But now, things are different. Now, there is space. And instead of seeing that space as something empty, what if you began to see it as something sacred, something valuable, something that belongs entirely to you? Because this might be the first time in a long time, maybe even in your entire life, that you truly have the chance to ask yourself, What do I need? Not what others expect, not what the world demands. Just what feels right for you. And sometimes the answer doesn't come immediately. Sometimes it takes patience. You may sit quietly and feel unsure. You may even feel like you've forgotten how to think about yourself in that way. That's okay. That doesn't mean there's nothing there. It just means you're reconnecting with a part of yourself that has been waiting for your attention. And that reconnection, it's powerful because the more you listen to yourself, the more you begin to understand what truly brings you peace. Not temporary distraction, not busyness, but real, steady peace. And peace is not something small. It's not something to overlook. Peace is the foundation of a meaningful life. It's waking up without that heavy feeling of pressure. It's moving through your day without constantly worrying about what comes next. It's allowing yourself to slow down without guilt. You've earned that kind of life. But here's something important. Peace doesn't just happen automatically. It's something you choose again and again in small ways. You choose it when you decide not to dwell on the past too much. Now, let's talk about that for a moment, because the past can be a powerful place. It holds memories, lessons, and sometimes regrets. And it's natural for your mind to go there, especially when life becomes quieter. You may find yourself thinking about things you wish you had done differently, words you wish you had said, chances you feel you missed. That's a very human experience. But staying there too long can take away from the life that is still in front of you. So instead of trying to push those thoughts away, try something gentler. Acknowledge them and then release them. You can say to yourself, that was part of my journey. It taught me something. And now I am here. Because the truth is, you cannot go back and change those moments, but you can decide how you relate to them now. You can carry them as weight, or you can carry them as wisdom, and wisdom will always serve you better. Now let's shift to something just as important, the idea of purpose. Many people believe that purpose is something big, something tied to work, achievement, or recognition. But at this stage of life, purpose often looks different. It becomes quieter, more personal, more meaningful in ways that don't always show on the outside. Purpose can be as simple as taking care of your well-being. It can be being present for someone who needs a kind word. It can be sharing your experience, your stories, your lessons with others. Never underestimate the value of what you know. There are people in this world, whether they are younger family members, friends, or even strangers, who can benefit from your perspective. You have lived through things they have not. You have seen life from angles they haven't reached yet. And sometimes, just your presence, your calm, your patience, your understanding can make a difference in someone else's life. That is purpose. It doesn't need to be loud to be meaningful. And at the same time, your purpose doesn't have to be about others all the time either. It can also be about you rediscovering what makes you feel alive. Think back, just for a moment. Was there something you once enjoyed but didn't have time for? Something simple. Something that made you lose track of time. Something that felt like it belonged only to you. It could be anything: reading, writing, gardening, walking, music, learning something new. That part of you didn't disappear. It's still there. And now, you have the opportunity to return to it. Not perfectly. Not with pressure. Just with curiosity. Curiosity is a powerful thing. It keeps your mind active. It keeps your spirit engaged. It reminds you that life is still full of things to explore, even in small ways. And exploration doesn't have to mean big changes. It can be as simple as trying something slightly different in your routine, taking a new route on your walk, listening to a different kind of music, reading about something you've never considered before. These small shifts can gently open your world again. They can bring a sense of freshness to your days. And over time, those small moments begin to add up. They begin to create a life that feels alive again. Now, I also want to talk about something that many people don't say out loud. There can be moments when you feel invisible. Moments when it seems like the world is focused on everything new, everything fast, everything young, and somehow you feel like you've been placed in the background. If you've ever felt that way, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not invisible. Your value is not measured by how much attention you receive. It is not measured by how busy you are or how much you produce. Your value comes from who you are, from your presence, from your experiences, from the life you have lived and continue to live. And just because the world doesn't always pause to recognize that, doesn't mean it isn't real. So don't wait for validation from the outside. Give it to yourself. Acknowledge your own journey. Respect your own path. Speak to yourself with kindness, the same way you would speak to someone you care about, because the relationship you have with yourself becomes even more important now. It shapes how you experience your days. It influences how you feel when you wake up, how you move through your time, how you see your future. And yes, there is still a future. It may look different than before, but it is still yours to shape. And shaping it doesn't require big, dramatic changes. It happens in small, consistent ways. By choosing to take care of your body, even gently. By choosing to keep your mind engaged, even in simple ways. By choosing to stay open to connection, even when it feels easier to stay alone. These choices may seem small, but they are powerful. They are how you build a life that feels steady, meaningful, and truly your own. So as you move through your day today, or tomorrow, or whenever you listen to this, try to notice one thing, just one. Something that feels good, something that feels calm, something that reminds you that life is still happening around you and within you. Hold on to that moment, even briefly, because those moments are not random. They are reminders. Reminders that this chapter of your life still holds beauty, still holds meaning, still holds possibility. And the more you notice them, the more they begin to grow. There's something else I want to talk about, and it's something many people feel, but rarely say out loud. Sometimes as life slows down, you don't just notice the quiet around you. You start to feel a quiet inside you too. Not always peaceful, sometimes uncertain. You might find yourself asking questions you never had time to ask before. Did I do enough? Did I make the right choices? Does my life still have meaning now? These are not small questions. They are deep human questions. And the fact that you're thinking about them doesn't mean something is wrong. It means you are reflecting. It means you are aware. But here's where it becomes important. Reflection should guide you, not weigh you down. Because if you stay too long in those questions without kindness toward yourself, they can slowly turn into doubt. And doubt has a way of making everything feel smaller than it really is. So let's look at those thoughts from a different angle. A more honest one. Did you do enough? You lived through years that required strength, patience, and resilience. You showed up when it mattered. You handled situations you didn't choose. You made decisions with the knowledge you had at the time. That is more than enough. Were all your choices perfect? Of course not. No one's are. But perfection was never the goal. Living was. Learning was. Growing was. And you did all of that. So instead of asking, was it enough? Try asking, what did I learn? Because learning is something you can still use. It's something you can still carry forward. Now let's talk about meaning. Meaning doesn't disappear as life changes. It evolves. Earlier in life, meaning may have come from roles, career, family, responsibilities, things that kept you busy and needed. But now, meaning becomes more internal, more personal. It's less about what you do for the world and more about how you experience your life. Meaning can be found in presence, in really being there during a conversation, in appreciating a quiet moment instead of rushing through it, in noticing the details, the way light enters a room, the sound of birds in the morning, the comfort of familiar spaces. These may seem like small things, but they are not empty. They are life, happening in its simplest and most honest form. And when you begin to pay attention to these moments, something shifts. Life stops feeling like something that already happened and starts feeling like something that is still unfolding. Because it is. You are still here. That means there are still moments ahead of you that you haven't experienced yet. Conversations you haven't had. Feelings you haven't felt. Possibility doesn't disappear with age. It just becomes quieter, more subtle, but still very real. Now, I want to gently address something that can quietly hold people back in this stage of life. Fear of change. It may not look like fear at first. Sometimes it shows up as hesitation, as comfort in routine, as the thought, maybe it's too late to try something new. And that thought can feel convincing. But let's be honest about it. What is it really protecting you from? From discomfort? Maybe. From failure? Possibly. From stepping into something unfamiliar? Very likely. But here's the important part. Growth has never required comfort. At any age. And trying something new now doesn't mean taking big risks or turning your life upside down. It simply means staying open. Open to small changes. Open to new experiences, even if they feel unfamiliar at first. Open to the idea that life can still surprise you. Because it can, but only if you allow a little space for it. Now, think about this. What would happen if you gave yourself permission to try one small new thing this week? Not something overwhelming, just something different. Maybe you speak to someone you wouldn't normally talk to. Maybe you learn something simple, just out of curiosity. Maybe you revisit a place or an activity you once enjoyed. It doesn't have to lead to anything big. That's not the point. The point is movement. The point is reminding yourself that you are still capable of stepping into something new, even in small ways. Because every small step sends a message to your mind, I am still growing, and that message is powerful. Now let's talk about something even deeper. How you speak to yourself. Because at this stage of life, your inner voice becomes louder. There's more quiet, which means there's more space for your thoughts to be heard. And if that inner voice is critical, or negative, or constantly focused on what's missing, it can shape your entire experience of life. So this is something worth paying attention to. Notice the way you talk to yourself throughout the day. If you make a mistake, do you judge yourself harshly? If you feel low, do you tell yourself something is wrong with you? If you're not as active as before, do you compare yourself to the past? These patterns can quietly take away your sense of peace. But here's the good news. You can change that voice, not overnight, but gradually. You can begin to replace criticism with understanding. Instead of saying, I should be doing more, you can say, I am doing what I can today. Instead of saying, I'm not the same anymore, you can say, I am changing, and that's part of life. These small shifts in language may seem simple, but they change how you feel. They create space for acceptance instead of resistance. And acceptance is not giving up. It's working with where you are instead of fighting against it. Now, let me share something very important with you. There is still time. Time to enjoy, time to connect, time to feel proud of your journey, time to create moments that bring you peace. But this time, it doesn't need to be rushed. You don't need to fill every moment. You don't need to chase anything. You just need to be present enough to experience it. And presence is something you can practice. Even right now, notice where you are. Notice your breathing. Notice the space around you. There is nothing missing in this moment. This moment is complete, just as it is. And when you begin to experience life this way, something changes. You stop waiting for something big to happen in order to feel okay. You start realizing that life is already happening in the smallest, quietest ways. And those ways are enough, more than enough. So as you move forward from here, carry this thought with you. You are not running out of time. You are moving into a different, kind of time. A time that is less about proving and more about experiencing, less about rushing and more about understanding, less about doing everything and more about choosing what truly matters. And that kind of time can be one of the most meaningful parts of your life if you allow yourself to step into it fully. There is one more truth I want to leave with you, and it may be the most important one of all. You don't have to become someone new to enjoy this chapter of your life. You don't have to chase a different identity or prove that you're still capable or try to match the energy of a younger version of yourself. You are not here to compete with your past. You are here to understand it and then gently move forward from it. Because everything you've been through, every challenge, every success, every quiet moment of endurance, it has already shaped you into someone strong, aware, and deeply human. And that version of you is enough right now, as you are. So instead of asking, what do I need to become next? Try asking, how can I take better care of the person I already am? That question changes everything. It shifts your focus from pressure to care, from expectation to understanding, from striving to living. And living, at this stage, is not about doing more. It's about feeling more in the simplest ways. Feeling a sense of calm when your day begins. Feeling appreciation for what you still have, instead of only thinking about what has changed. Feeling connection, even if it's just with one person or even with yourself. Because yes, your relationship with yourself matters now more than ever. The way you speak to yourself, the way you treat your time, the way you allow yourself to rest without guilt, these things shape your daily life in quiet but powerful ways. So be gentle with yourself. You don't need harsh discipline. You don't need constant motivation. What you need is consistency in small, caring actions. Wake up and give yourself a moment before the world enters your mind. Move your body, even if it's just a little. Eat in a way that supports your energy, not just your routine. Step outside when you can. Let the air, the light, the world remind you that life is still moving and you are still part of it. And most importantly, give yourself permission to enjoy your time. Not later, not when everything feels perfect. Now, because this idea that joy belongs to the past or to younger years is simply not true. Joy changes form. It becomes quieter, yes, but also deeper, more real, less dependent on outside excitement, and more rooted in inner peace. And that kind of joy is something many people spend their entire lives searching for. But you are in a position to experience it if you allow yourself to slow down enough to notice it. Now, before we close, I want to give you something simple to carry with you. Not a long list, not something complicated, just a few gentle steps you can return to again and again. First, each day, choose one small thing to look forward to. It doesn't have to be big. It could be a cup of tea, a walk, a conversation, a quiet moment with yourself. Anticipation brings light into your day, even in small ways. Second, stay connected, even when it feels easier not to. You don't need many people. Just one meaningful connection can make a difference. A simple message, a short call, a shared moment. Connection reminds you that you are not alone in this world. Third, keep your mind gently engaged. Read something, learn something, reflect on something, not to challenge yourself, but to keep that sense of curiosity alive, because curiosity keeps life feeling open. And finally, be kind to yourself in your thoughts. This may be the most important step of all, because your thoughts are with you all day. And if they are supportive, patient, and understanding, your life will feel lighter. But if they are critical and heavy, everything will feel harder than it needs to be. So choose kindness again and again, even if it feels unfamiliar at first. Now, as we come to the end of this moment together, I want you to pause just for a second. Think about where you are in your life right now. Not where you were, not where you think you should be, just where you are. And instead of judging it, simply acknowledge it. This is your life. This is your time, and it is still yours to experience. Your story is still unfolding. There are still peaceful mornings ahead of you, still meaningful conversations waiting to happen, still small joys you haven't noticed yet, still moments of clarity, of connection, of quiet happiness that will arrive when you least expect them. Nothing important has been taken away from you. It has simply changed form. And sometimes, what we gain in that change is something deeper than we ever had before. So walk into this next chapter without fear, not because everything is certain, but because you are capable of meeting life as it comes. You always have been, and you still are. This is not the end of your story. This is a softer, wiser, more meaningful beginning. And it begins the moment you decide to live it.